They didn't kill me, man. It was arduous. Possibly. Are we still doing the two bonds and the Latin one? Or we got some new songs that we're practicing on Wednesday? What is it? Again and again and again and again. Until you get it right. Why do we record it? All day. Pray all day. All day. We're starting some days. Pray all day. That's how you get it. Another recipe. Okay. Oh yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, located on occupied ancestral land of the Muscogee Nation and housed in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. My name is Jan Newton, and I'll be your service associate today. We welcome you. We come here for different reasons: to find community, to nurture our hearts and souls, to find comfort, to seek spiritual and personal truths, and explore new ideas. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time, and to those who are still getting acquainted. If you did not do so when you came in, please fill out our visitor's book at the other end of the building near the greeters. Or you may do so digitally visiting auuf.org/visitor. To keep up with activities of this community, check the AUF website, sign up for our email, and watch for any announcements printed in the order of service. We also have time for spoken announcements after the service, or near the end of the service. Now, as we step away from the world for the coming hour, please silence your cell phone and any other digital devices. Let us move into the service, open to connection in all its forms. Bells ringing, please.
I'm gonna color him love. I've got to color him killed in the war. And she knows she and 7 kids couldn't have gotten very far. She said she thought that she would never love again. And then there he stood with that big white grin. He married my mother and he took us in. And now we belong to the man with that big white grin. I got to color this man father. I'm going to color him love. I've got to color him father. We've all color this man love. He's just been so good to me. I know I've got to color him love. I'm gonna color him father. I've got to color this man love.
Before we light the chalice, we would like to wish all fathers and those who take on the role of fathering a happy Father's Day. And thank you for all you do and have done. The words for our chalice lighting are adapted from a reading by Claudine Olivia. We light this chalice for fathers and fathering to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, baby, child, or youth into adulthood. To celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy into the growth of others in the world. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear the flame of love. We also light a candle to honor families seeking to enter the U.S. at our southern border, families making dangerous journeys motivated by the opportunity of a better future for themselves and their children. And we also light a candle for those suffering from the ongoing conflict in Gaza.
One of the ways we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. We begin with silent joys and concerns and invite those here to, one at a time, drop a pebble into our communal bowl during the music for meditation. Spoken joys and concerns will be invited following the music excerpt. Actually, it's a music video excerpt in this case. In honor of Pride Month, we are playing Made It Through the Night by Patagonia. Patty, they, she, he, is an environmentalist, drag queen, and LGBTQ activist from Oregon.
Mockingbird in the morning light sun. You told me the words that they were singing out, that they had made out. In the dark we were brave, took a spark to create our own light, our own fate, our own sound. And they tried every day to make us the mistake, but it gave us the strength to stand off. We made it through the night. I can't explain, but I wouldn't change it. We sing 'cause we made it. We made it through the night. No one can erase us. We're here and we stay. We sing 'cause we made it. We made it through the night.
Sorry for the technical difficulty. If you have a brief joy, concern, or milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation, please come forward to share it using the microphone right here. And please don't line up, but come forward after the last person has left the microphone.
Yesterday, my older brother Harold came by the house and brought me a book that most of the people that knew him have been pressuring him to get put together for the last more than 10 years. The title of the book is The Paddle and Pack by Harold Banks. Because in 2009, he made the first recorded descent of the Tallapoosa River from its source in Georgia to Fort Toulouse-Jackson, where it runs into the Coosa River to become the Alabama River. And then 2 years later, he put in there and took out at Fort Morgan on the Gulf of Mexico. And he wrote a journal, and at the time he kept a journal of a daily journal of the trip, with telling what he saw and the history of the places that he passed them by and everything. And it was published in the Alexander City Outlook. And you can check the archives and find that even today. But he finally put it all into book form with a bunch of illustrations and such, which are pretty good. And it's available, it's already available on Kindle, and will be very soon available through Barnes & Noble. I'll put out the information to get to it. And it's a pretty good book, even though I'm mentioning it.
We got the name of the book. What's the name?
The title of the book, Ralph?
With Paddle and Pack.
It's Paddle and Pack. And it's an excellent book. I'm not a very big reader, and I'm almost halfway done with it. And it was just dropped off yesterday, and Ralph's already read it all the way through. I mean, it's just fun to read because it's like being with him on the canoe. And he was by himself, so it's great. Anybody else?
May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community be shared, those shared aloud and those held in silence, be received to the care and concern of all present. The Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is very active and vibrant with an inspiring mission to make a difference in the world. The members and friends of this fellowship share our time, energy, creativity, imagination, vision, talents, and skills. As important, we contribute financially to provide the resources our time and energy can't. This morning, we invite you to contribute as generously as you can in service of our mission. You may donate online via PayPal at auuf.org/donate. If you are writing a check, make the check payable to AUF. You can drop it in the offering basket or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. Please note whether your donation is a pledge or for the general offering. If this is your first time with us today, please allow the offering basket to pass by. You being here is a gift. The offering will now be received with gratitude.
If y'all are familiar with this song, just know we've truncated it a little bit for the offertory.
Like an elephant with a trunk.
Smush
Like
it.
a cowboy.
I haven't seen my father in some time, but his face is always staring back at me. His heavy hands hang at the ends of my arms, my colors change like the sea. But I don't worry much about time lost. I'm not gunning for the dreams I couldn't find. 'Cause he taught me how to walk the best that I can on the road I've left behind. But most of all, he taught me to forgive, how to keep a cool head, how to love the one you're with. And when I'm far into the distance and the pushing comes to shove, to remember what comes back when you give away your love. But most of all, he taught me how to fight, how to move across the line between the wrong and the right. And when I'm turned into the darkness and the pushing comes to shove, to remember what comes back when you give away your love. Give away your love. Oh, give your love away. Give away your love. And remember what comes back to you. I haven't seen my father in some time, but his face is always staring back at me. His heavy hands hang at the ends of my arms, and my colors change like the sea.
Our moment for all ages will be led by Gabrielle Dunham. Do we have any young folks or those feeling young at heart who'd like to come up and hear the story or see the story? You're most welcome.
Turn your mic on mute, kids today.
Hi everyone, today we're going to read Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. In the middle of New York City, there's a great big park called Central Park. Children love to play there. It has a portico pond where they can sell their boats. It has a carousel to ride in the summer and an ice rink to skate in the winter. Best of all, it has its very own zoo. Everyday families of all kinds go to visit the animals that live there. But children and their parents aren't the only families at the zoo. The animals make families of their own. There are red panda bear families with mothers and fathers and furry red panda bear cubs. There are monkey dads and monkey moms raising noisy monkey babies. And there are toad families and toucan families and cotton top tamarin families too. And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year at the very same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins, and the boy penguins start noticing the girls. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. Two penguins in the penguin house were a little bit different. One was named Roy and the other was Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys, but they did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper, Mr. Gramsey, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love. Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home, so they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples. And every morning, Roy and Silo woke up together. But one day, Roy and Silo saw that the other couples could do something they couldn't. The mama penguin would lay an egg, she and the papa penguin would take turns keeping the egg warm until finally it would hatch. And then there would be a baby penguin. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. It was only a rock, but Silo carefully sat on it, and sat, and sat. When Silo got sleepy, he slept, and when Silo was done sleeping and sitting, he swam and Roy sat. Day after day, Silo and Roy sat on the rock, but nothing happened. Then Mr. Gramsci got an idea. He found an egg that needed to be cared for, and he brought it to Roy and Silo's nest. Roy and Silo knew just what to do. They moved the egg to the center of the nest. Every day they turned it so each side stayed warm. Some days Roy sat while Silo went for food. Other days it was Silo's turn to take care of their egg. They sat in the morning, they sat at night, they sat through lunchtime and swim time and supper. They sat at the beginning of the month, and they sat at the end of the month, and they sat all days in between. Until one day they heard a sound coming from inside their egg. Peep, 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 it said. Roy and Silo called back, squawk, squawk, peep, peep, answered the egg. Suddenly a teeny hole appeared in the eggshell, and then, crack! Out came their very own baby. She had fuzzy white feathers and a funny black beak. Now Roy and Silo were fathers. We'll call her Tango, Mr. Gramsci decided, because it takes two to make a tango. Roy and Silo taught Tango how to sing for them when she was hungry. They fed her from their beaks. They snuggled her in their nest at night. Tango was the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. Soon Tango grew strong enough to leave the nest. Roy and Silo took her for a swim, just like all the other penguin families. And all the children who came to the zoo could see Tango and her two fathers playing in the penguin house with the other penguins. Hooray, Roy! Hooray, Silo! Welcome, Tango! They cheered. At night, the three penguins returned to their nest. There, they snuggled together, and like all the other penguins in the penguin house, and all the other animals in the zoo, and all the families in the big city around them, they were asleep.
Sing our kids up.
Be open to new learning. May your words bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love and your hands do justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
By the way, the Tango story is based on a true story that happened in Central Park in the Penguin House. Our speaker today is Gabrielle Dunham, she, her. She's the president of the PFLAG Auburn, and you'll hear more about that soon. Gabrielle works as a lab tech at the Plant Diagnostic Lab at Auburn University with Alabama Extension. She is also an active volunteer for Alabama Water Watch, Alabama Audubon, and other bird researchers, the Auburn University Museum of Natural History, and the WOLAC Lab at the Auburn University. In her free time, she enjoys making art, birding, herping, botanizing, and giving guided nature hikes. She's always posting pictures on Facebook of her adventures and bugs and snakes and everything. Anyway, and flowers. Gabby?
As you all heard, I'm Gabrielle Dunham, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am the current president of PFLAG Auburn. And today I'm going to give you a little bit of information about our national organization history, as well as our local chapter history. So as of last year, PFLAG National celebrated 50 years of its organization's existence. And we are the nation's largest organization that focuses on supporting, educating, and advocating.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Lift the mic up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. We are the nation's largest organization that focuses on supporting, educating, and advocating for LGBTQ+ people and those who love them. We have nearly 400 chapters and 325,000 members and supporters in the U.S. You can find chapters and family group information at the following websites at our national website. So a little bit on our history. PFLAG history started with the Manford family. Jean and Jules Manford's son Morty helped found the Gay Activist Alliance and became the president of that organization. And the GAA was formed in December 1969 and branched off of the Gay Liberation Front. And the Gay Liberation Front formed in July 1969 in the immediate aftermath of the Stonewall riots. And the GAA focused on working within the political system to forward gay and lesbian issues. The GAA led many protests, including the 50th annual Inner Circle Dinner event, which was attended by our reporters. It had performances of anti-LGBTQ+ skits and satire. Morty and others used a form of direct activism called ZAP at the event to gain attention for a city gay rights law that the GAA wanted to pass. Unfortunately, a fight broke out at the dinner when GAA was ejected, and Michael May, president of the New York City Uniformed Firefighters Association, opposed the law, and he unfortunately beat Morty at the dinner, and many witnesses saw this fight. And May was acquitted of assault, and the law was passed years later. Morty's mother was furious about this event that occurred, and it inspired her to speak out for her son. And she wrote a letter entitled "A Fair Chance" to the New York Post, expressing her anger at the incident. No parent had ever written a letter like that before that was published in a major newspaper. And then on June 25th in 1972, Morty asked his mother to march with him in the Christopher Street Liberation Day March. She agreed to march if she could carry a sign explaining her reason for marching, and her sign read, "Parents of Gays Unite in Support of Our Children." Morty knew that her presence would inspire others to show support and join them. And Morty's mother was not the only parent that started PFLAG. His father was also very much involved in starting this organization and supporting him. And he urged his parents to start this organization because we need parents and allies to start this organization to get more support. And without both of his parents, PFLAG would never have happened. Much like today, we need parents and allies to support our LGBTQ+ loved ones in our community. Their first meeting was held on March 11th, 1973 at the Metropolitan Duane Methodist Church in Greenwich Village. And now there's a plaque in honor of their first historic meeting. And when the group was first formed, they called themselves Parents of Gays. The group of parents marched with their children for the first time at the 1973 Christopher Street Liberation Day March. Later, this group founded PFLAG New York City, which became the first chapter of our national organization. Over the years, many groups formed and offered safe havens and mutual support for parents and their LGBTQ+ children. And following the 1979 National March for Gay and Lesbian Rights, representatives from these different groups met in Washington, D.C. for the first time. And by the 1980s, the organization was known as Parents Flag, and they began distributing information nationwide to many communities and different sources of accurate information that was helpful for the public. And then when I was told about my age, when I didn't know what Dear Abby was a while ago. So when Dear Abby mentioned PFLAG in one of her advice columns, PFLAG received 7,000 letters requesting more information about their organization. And Adele Starr was the founding president of PFLAG National. In 1982, Parents of Flag was incorporated in California and granted nonprofit tax-exempt status. And PFLAG National became involved in opposing Anita Bryant's anti-gay crusade and worked to end the U.S. military's effort to discharge lesbians more than a decade before the military issues became had come to the forefront of the LGBT movement. So moving into the 90s. So PFLAG National eventually moved to Washington, D.C. and employed an executive director. The PFLAG National Board President, Paulette Goodman, sent a letter to Barbara Bush asking for her support. The First Lady personally replied and stated, "I firmly believe that we cannot tolerate discrimination against any individuals or groups in our country. Such treatment always brings with it pain and perpetuates intolerance." Her comments were likely one of the first gay positive comments from the White House at the time. And eventually PFLAG added bisexual and transgender people to its mission and work. And it was one of the first national non-trans-specific organizations to do so to stand up for trans rights. And also in the mid-90s, there was a PFLAG family that was responsible for the Department of Education's ruling that Title IX also protect gay and lesbian students from harassment based on sexual orientation. Moving into the 20s. So PFLAG by then had created many outreach and educational programs to empower new allies in the LGBTQ+ community. Their publications were for allies, for straight allies, cisgender allies, and allies of faith. And in 2014, the organization officially changed its name, dropping the acronym Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbian and Gays to just simply PFLAG. This was to show that, PFLAG serves its community and it cannot be broken. And it more accurately reflects the PFLAG members, those PFLAG serves, those it serves, and as well as the inclusive work that PFLAG has been doing for decades. And then in the 2020s, PFLAG created a ton of more resource programs like Reading with Love. So now that I've given you a brief history of our national organization, I thought it was especially important to go over PFLAG Auburn's history and all those who have since worked hard to make PFLAG Auburn what it is today. And I got a lot of the following information from Jane Turbo, one of our previous officers. So she met with some local moms around 2017 to reach out to Spectrum, Auburn University's Gay-Straight Alliance, because they wanted to restore Auburn. I don't know, the PFLAG Auburn, I don't know too much about who previously ran it, but it seems like it had dwindled off by then. And so she wanted to get some advice from Debbie, one of their previous presidents. And then she went to an Alabama Together meeting asking for help with starting it back up again, and that's where she met Kelly Thompson, as some of you may know her. And she came with Jane and helped form the group. And then they went to a Montgomery PFLAG meeting to see how those meetings were run so they could get some advice. And the first ever board at the time was with Jane, Kelly, Ben, and Carter. And their first event was at Town Creek Park. So these are some photos of some of the events, the Town Creek Park event and some other events they held with some of the previous officers. Yeah, it looks like it was a very successful first event. And then since then, we've been doing quite a lot to help our community, connecting parents, allies, students, and other members of the LGBT community. And around 2017, as I said, they met with Spectrum, and they also met with other local GSAs to invite them to meetings and events like our Friendsgiving. We often like to meet students during Valentine's Day to give them little goodie bags and different things to show them that they're loved and that we're thinking about them. In 2018, Pride in the Plains was formed, and since then we have always joined them in their Pride Parade and in their festival. That's always very fun for us. Over the years, we've continued to do outreach at other local city events in Auburn, like Auburn City Fest, to raise awareness about our organization. And that's actually one of our big events that a lot of people do find out about our organization. And then in December of 2022, our new board members were elected. I became president, Billy was the vice president for a little bit, and then Jeff Walker stepped in, and then Deborah continued as secretary. A real big event last year, on May 16th, 2023, we marched at the state capitol to march against anti-trans bills in the state. Many of the bills at the time were attacking the trans community in sports, training, public conversations, and spaces, and through drag vandalism to criminalize gender expression. And many of the members in our community since then fought very actively to get these bills dismissed in the legislative session, and luckily just about all of them didn't pass, except the DEI one. And so since last year, we've been also active in helping the Auburn Public Library and protecting their LGBTQ+ books and their Pride book display. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you should go check out their Pride book display this month. And since then, we continued to go to their public meetings as well as city council meetings to fight against anyone that is anti-LGBTQ+ in the community and to protect our books. And then last year, Deborah was awarded the Spirit of Pride Award at Auburn Pride Fest for her activism in the community for protecting libraries and their books. What was real exciting was just seeing the Walker family flourish too last year. His daughter, on June 21st, testified in front of the United States Judicial Committee. It's a picture of Harley Walker at the bottom. And she is the youngest person to do so. She was 16 at the time, speaking at the United States Judicial Committee, like youngest person ever. And we worked together with the city of Auburn to declare November 2nd as Harley Walker Day to celebrate her activism and accomplishments she made last year. And then this year, Auburn PFLAG was awarded the Pillar Pride Award from Pride in the Plains at the 6th Annual Pride Festival. And so I'm just going to go through some photos of these different events throughout the years. So at the top left corner, we have us with Spectrum for one of our annual Friendsgivings with our previous officers. And at the bottom, you can see some people helping out at our City Fest booth. And these photos were from the march to the Capitol last year. PFLAG, Tumors Corner Sit-In, Pride in the Plains, a lot of different groups came together and different people we worked in the community. And we had a lot of people in this march. There's Tumor Corner Sit-In folks and some other friends. And here's some of our pictures last year from our Pride Festival and Parade with our booth and our float we decorated. And Deborah receiving her Spirit of Pride Award. And also every year we try to do a big Transgender Day visibility celebration at Tumors Corner, and we partnered with Pride in the Plains and the Tumor Corner Sit-In to do this every year. We also actively try to, each week try to support the Tumor Corner Sit-In and Demarius and Herb and support them every week and go out there. And then this year, again, we also did the Transgender Day Visibility event with Pride in the Plains and Tumors Corner. This is a picture from the Pride Parade this year, the Auburn Opelika News Guide. They had some really good pictures. This is our Pride Parade float we decorated this year. We always love to share this message that our national organization does, which is leading with love. And here's our current officers, me, Deborah, and Jeff at our booth this year at Pride Fest. And this is a picture of us receiving our award. So that's all I have for you today. And if there's any questions, let me know. And I'm going to put up this slide with our information if you want to contact us. So please let me know if you have any questions.
When does PFLAG meet?
Every third Thursday at the Bush Center at 6:30 p.m. to 8.
And it's open to public?
Yeah, open to the public, anyone. We have Facebook groups that talk about it as well as our Instagram. But every third Thursday, we always have a meeting.
How much hostility do you face in Auburn?
Personally, we don't have any issues at our meetings. We do sometimes say when we're marching the parade, like this year, there were some religious groups that had megaphones and were yelling at us and talking about their God and different things like that. But after the parade ended, they didn't really bother us. There was police there and they kind of talked to them and they just quieted down. And generally at the Pride Festival every year, we don't really have any issues. I haven't encountered any. And we don't really, I've never really seen many comments online that we've had issues with from people. But I know when we're supporting Demarius and Herb at the Tumor Corner Sit-In, that's probably the only area I really do see some harassment from the public. Other than that, it's really just when we're at the corner or the parade sometimes.
What about personal experiences or friends?
I know like some of our like members, like their kids have experienced bullying and different issues at the local high school, and they've had issues trying to form their GSA and different issues they've had with the school. They've tried to have their own booth at Pride Fest and different things, and they've had issues. But there are some good teachers at the local high schools and middle schools supporting those students. Me personally, I don't know, like for me, like coming here to college was like so much better than where I grew up in Georgia, where I was most of my life bullied, not even for being gay. I didn't come out until college. And so for me also being more like passing, I don't think I get as much harassment as other people. I identify as pan, so yeah, like for me personally, I don't, but I know there are members that come to our meeting and talk about their kids or different stuff they face, but currently at my job, it's very accepting, my boss is great, and most places I am openly out, so generally it's something like a protest, like at 2 Record, where I face those kind of issues. Yes?
Does PFLAG do any outreach at the beginning, say at the beginning of the academic year, professional colleges on the campus, like nursing, osteopathic college, veterinary school?
Yeah, so I partner a lot with, I keep in touch with Spectrum, which is now called Saga at Auburn University. I'm actually kind of like an alumni. I started going to that group the minute I transferred to Auburn, and so I've always wanted to keep in touch with them and let them know that we're still a resource, because we did, when we restarted back in 2017, we did keep in touch with Spectrum and wanted them to know about our organization. I know usually at the beginning of the school year we make goodie bags for like the local high schoolers and middle schoolers. Any of the GSAs we know about, we'll make goodie bags with our members, and then we'll go and deliver them to them at the beginning of the school year. It's like little notebooks, pencils, candy, and stuff. So we do outreach at things like that. But our big outreach is generally like at some of the more public events, like this past weekend. Deborah set up a booth at the Juneteenth celebration at Kiesel Park. So any way we can be visible, we try to.
I would just suggest you consider orientation week, the first week, just like, I'm not sure if it's before classes start officially, like the week before, but I know that once students dive into their professional curriculum, they tend to just be on their part of campus and with it, not necessarily going out to community for resources, but I think that there's a significant presence of gay, lesbian spectrum people, certainly, you know, the professional campus that I've been affiliated with. And I think that if they get, you know, upon entry to that campus, if they get a brochure or flyer or the mailbox or whatever, then they're likely to hang on to it and use it rather than just say, I gotta keep my head down and ignore everything else that's going on.
So I don't think, Gabby knows what you're teaching.
Okay, I used to be faculty at the College of Veterinary Medicine.
Okay, so Saga right now, they do, like, they still do the welcome weeks of the semester, and Saga will always have a table, like on, I think, the Wednesday O-Days. So Saga is what used to be called Spectrum. It's now Sexuality and Gender Association. They had a name change because of issues they have with the university, different stuff. But they actively are still having, like, right this summer right now, they've been doing Camp War Eagle, and they've had booths out. They work with OID, Office of Inclusion and Diversity, and do different events throughout the year. They've been doing like a Rocky Horror Picture Show every year. They've been doing a lot more public events, and OID has been really great working with Saga and helping them be more visible. But I always do think the university could do a better job, like, unless you know, or say like on the Haley Concourse and see their booth, or unless like you see their social media, you know, it can be harder for students to find that information. And what I did as an employee of Auburn, I got the Safe Zone training, and there are a lot more advisors and professors doing that, just having the little, they get the training, they get the rainbow paw print. Even just seeing more professors use their pronouns in their email really was encouraging for me finishing up school. But as always, I do think they can do more, and I don't know how it would work for me going out on those O-Days. I know most of my officers were working at that time, but we do partner with Spectrum. I go to their meetings and talk about our organization, and I give them flyers, so I do actively still work with Saga.
I think there is a vet-specific
There is? Okay.
gay straight alliance organization. I've seen them at events. So the thing is, PFLAG is more national, Stephanie, and the university has a lot of pockets where they have their own, like, gender and sexuality organizations. I think there's one in the nursing school, I think there's one in the vet school, but I've seen them at different organization or events.
Right, and I guess I'm expressing what I was trying to bring up, which is that I think that if AUUF put some brochures out or had a table and maybe we'll sit at it and just said, hey, if you'd like to find a very inclusive religious faith.
But there is a student organization that exists that Chris Baskier runs. And Zach, who's right here, Zach and Chris are working. It is kind of new, but we do have a campus organization now.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, I'd be willing to participate in outreach, because I think that a slightly different tack here, but I think that AUUF is a largely unknown resource to the people in the incoming class, and I think that they're looking for a faith community that is welcoming and has other aspects of helping them to infuse stress, the professional curriculum, that no one that's here coming and trying it out before they get into midterms and finals. I think it would be one way we would probably gain few members, but also that they would benefits. They would receive benefits being part of such a inclusive and supportive community as out of here.
So also in the past, AUUF has organized meetings with Saga and talked about y'all's group with them. And also I know like at Pride Fest, y'all show visibility there. And Saga itself often likes to have a religious meeting, and they invite different local community religious groups of different faiths to talk about that and come and I know there's different religious groups that come at Welcome Week. They somehow get permission to do that. But AUF has, like in the past, I don't know how more recently, has come to Saga, has talked about that they're a space for them, because they do like to have like different faith-based meetings so people can explore spirituality and different stuff and have a safe place for that. So yeah, so maybe that's something someone could do. Saga's been they're okay about emails, but they've been trying to be more active, and each month they do like they have a meeting every Wednesday, and they try to do a different topic, whether it's a guest speaker or a study hour or a presentation. And I'm sure they would love to have AUF work with them again, because they have in the past.
Did you say they meet every Wednesday?
Yeah, like every Wednesday, they have a social media, Saga. I think they might have a Facebook too. But I could give you all contact info if you would like with their advisor and officers, and I'm sure they would love to have you, because we've worked with them a lot recently and gone to events, and they've been trying to host more things like panels as well. So, but they always usually have some time of the semester like a religious-based meeting. So,
thank you.
Carter?
I also just want to point out, Gabby's talking about PFLAG as a whole. We do meet here third Thursdays, and it's a big, wide open community meeting. But there's other work that takes place. We have smaller parent groups. So if you ever know someone who has a kid who has come out and they are struggling and they want community, we have a parent group, we have a parent of trans children group, and a lot of times some of that work is done more there and more privately, right? So at this community meeting, it is more community and socialization and commiserating and like-mindedness. But these parent groups, that's where Jeff Walker, who is Harley Walker's dad, he honestly credits PFLAG, right or wrong, with helping him feel emboldened to help his daughter be an activist for trans rights. And it's a place where you can come, you can feel free to ask questions, you can feel free to make mistakes, you can feel free to process your feelings about your children and getting more information. So just know that you can reach out. PFLAG does have more personal resources for things of that nature as well. If you know anyone who needs that, some of the more meaningful work goes on in some of those quieter places.
Yes, thank you for that. I am not a parent, so I don't go to those, but I can give you all my officer's contact information if you would like to know more. Or Carter.
And I attend the Parents for Trans Kids group. They've been very helpful in the past. We're not meeting too regularly right now, but when people have an issue or have something they want to get together and discuss, we start gathering meetings again.
And we will actually be having a PFLAG meeting this Thursday at the Bush Center as well. Probably maybe more of a support, and we're actually preparing to go to Prattville Pride this weekend. They will be having their first Pride Festival. They've unfortunately had a lot of issues with their public library and librarians getting fired over different issues with, you know, LGBT books and different things. So they've been at Pride Fest, they were at Birmingham, so they've been doing a lot of like pushing to let people know about their events. So PFLAG will be going, we can get rides, limited amount of rides, but me, Damaris, and Deborah for sure will be there with our PFLAG booth. So that's another Pride to look forward to.
Thank you, Gabby. Good information to share with everybody. The closing words will actually be after the sung benediction. Please join us in extinguishing our chalice. You will find the words in the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These will carry in our hearts until we are together again. I invite you to stay after the service for coffee and conversation here in the sanctuary. If you're visiting, we hope you will stay and meet some new people and get a feel of our community. If you're not signed up for our email list, please make sure to do so to receive updates about activities and ways to connect. You can sign up for our website at auf.org/subscribe. We also post our events on our Facebook and Instagram pages. I invite anyone with spoken announcements to come forward at this time.
Just a quick one. It says that choir's going to meet Thursday night, and if anybody decides they want to show up, we're actually going to meet Wednesday. And that's for those of you in the choir that are still here. We're meeting Wednesday, not Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks for all the questions that y'all are asking and information. Laura, did you have something else? No. Okay. All right. Time for our sung benediction. Rise if you'd like, or stay sitting.
Closing words are by Jean M. Ricard. We have a calling in this world. We are called to honor diversity, to respect differences with dignity, and to challenge those who would forbid it. We are a people of a wide path. Let us be wide in affection and go our way in peace.
Our priorities. And the fellowship.
Oh!